Growth therapy. Take a sip of water.
Chair. Jesus Christ. I was like,
Get into place.
Like, whoa, what the fuck?
Am I centered? Am I centered in that thing? I don't even.
Yeah.
Okay. I can't see that far. I need glasses.
Avi.
All right. Let's do this. Part 2.
Bardos.
Hi, guys. It's me, Stefanie Maegan, your host of Broco Therapy. Guess the fuck what? Rose is back.
I'm back again. Woo, 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 woo. I'm here.
I love doing this stuff with you.
I love it too.
Like, that's literally how we met. Is like the first day we met was you on my show.
Oh my God,
The Thirst Trap.
Literally, Jaffer was like, oh, I have someone you should totally do the podcast with. It's this girl that I went to high school with. And I remember she was like, yo, I met this dope-ass chick in LA. Never thought I would meet cool people in LA.
Oh, she said that?
I know, yeah.
That is
because,
so
like,
sweet.
it's kind of true sometimes. Like, when you, but you're an LA native. LA natives just get it.
Right. Because this is just where we're born. We're not trying to like be anything. We're
not phased by anything.
No, we're not phased. Like I'm not phased by celebrities.
Yeah, you're kind of
besides
like,
Beyonce, but let's be real.
She's not a celebrity. She's a saint. It's completely different. You know what I mean? Like I was watching Black is King, and I was like, oh my God, you're
so
holy.
good. Yes,
it was like it's just so strange to look at her and be like, you are a normal person, but because you have this platform, I'm never gonna see you as normal.
No, never. But everyone else, like all the others, I don't give a shit. Yeah, but people who come to LA are always like, oh my God.
Yeah. I did see John Hamm in person once, and I was just like, wow, you're really stunning. Like, he's just really handsome.
Right.
In real life. Oh, and there was also Lupita.
Oh, beautiful. I've never seen her, but beautiful.
She's never not smiling. It's like one of those things where I was like, yeah, if I had your teeth, I would fucking smile all the time.
She's gorgeous.
Just gorgeous. And I was just like, watching her interact with the waiters, because that's like another thing I judge people on how they treat, like, because I grew up in a restaurant, and it's like when I went on dates, like I would judge men on how like they tipped and how.
Oh, for sure. When you go on,
that's a big one.
I've been on dates where they didn't tip. And I'm not gonna say who because he's been on the show, but like our first date,
he's been on the show. Everyone's gonna go back like some CSI shit, and they're like, who didn't tip? Who sounds like they were cheap? They didn't tip.
Yeah, like the bartender was like, so you're just not gonna came up to him and was like, you're just not gonna like give me a tip, and he was like, what do you mean?
I even tip when it's shitty service.
Right.
Like I just, it's in my body. It's in my DNA. My dad taught me that way. I was a waitress for a very long time, but like I do it like begrudgingly. Like
you're like, yeah,
I'm giving you only 16%, and it's like I'm like gritting my teeth. I sometimes over tip because I just like, that's the type of person I am.
Right.
But the way Lupita was treating that, like she was just so kind. She was like, oh, like how's your, like, if I was that waitress,
so
I would have
nice.
been like, I know, I would have like died inside. I'm like, Lupita, she loves me. We're dating now. You know what I mean? Like that's what I would be like convinced that. But she was like the sweetest person.
It's always good to know when like certain celebrities are nice.
Yeah. It's always really funny though, because I feel like
we're always off topic.
Yeah, I know we're so off topic, but I feel like I have like family members that are always like, yeah, people in LA ruin celebrities for me, because you'll be like, I really like this celebrity, and they're like, oh my God, and you're like,
I'm not that bitch.
Yeah, they're like, I saw her at Whole Foods and she like threw a tomato, or like whatever the weird story is. Yeah, we LA people can. I feel like New Yorkers can ruin celebrities too, because New York is also like an area where like
celebrities are also there as well.
Yes, and people don't really. I love how we're talking about them like they're exotic birds. Like celebrities are also found in their natural habitat of New York City. As they're buying food, they ride on the subway like we do.
Celebrities, they're just like us.
Yeah, right. Yeah, except you're not stressed about healthcare. Anyways, but point of the story
America.
But like how people really do freak out about like, man, you ruined that celebrity for me. So now I've like decided that I only share like the good stories. Like when someone brings up a celebrity, I'm kind of like, oh yeah, that person's cool, But if it's like someone I am like, oh my God, no, that's the greatest person ever. Right. It's a big one.
Anyways.
Sorry. Okay, what? Welcome.
Wait, so is this not to talk about we're here to talk about long distance relationships because we are on the both end. You are in a very successful long distance relationship, and we know mine just fucking failed. So I think you could
really fail. It ended. Oh, I am so deep. Am I Oprah? Just kidding. I'm not. I'm not Oprah. Another nice person. I've heard. Sorry. No. It just, he insecure.
Yeah, you're right. It didn't fail. It didn't work out.
Yeah, it just didn't work out.
It did like
he failed, but you didn't fail. The relationship ended.
We won't go there.
Sorry. Again, I can't stop with these. It's my Scorpio. Anyways, continuing on.
Yeah. So tell me about your long distance.
Oh my God. This episode is like, people are going to be like, what do you mean they're not smoking? They're not high right now?
I know, completely sober.
Yeah.
No, but for real, like, I think it's so common now, especially during this pandemic. I feel like there's more long distance.
Way more.
Yeah.
I actually was working on an article for one of the publications I've been working on about that and about how my relationship, we're going on, oh, snap. It's like a year and a half or almost 2 years soon.
Shit.
I know, time. What is it? It's weird. But yeah, we've been going together for a year and a half and the whole relationship has been long distance.
Like, are you okay with this? Like, is this something like you feel like this works for you? Because there's people who like need to be next to their person all the time. Because
my last relationship, which was very toxic and extremely bad and emotionally abusive, that was nearly almost 7 or 6 years ago. I can't quite remember because I don't think about it as much anymore. But that one, my friends will tell you, like, I get really codependent and I like bury myself into people, and that's why I was so scared of dating for so long.
You're like Jada.
Yeah, kind of. Wait, you mean like Will Smith and Jada?
No, yeah. Because remember she was, like, have you seen that Red Table Talk where she's like, she has like her codependency?
Yes. Yeah, but I've never cheated on anyone.
No, yeah. Besides the cheating, besides the entanglement.
But yeah, I guess like codependency. But codependency is such an interesting thing.
What is codependency?
Codependency. Don't worry, I have a speech impediment and it's totally fine. I can't say the word archaeologist without doing that.
Really?
I have to say it that way all the time.
Interesting.
Or like potent.
I'm just congested. See, potent.
No, it's just potent.
Potent.
And I say potent. That's bad.
What?
Anyway. Sorry. It's okay. Oh my God, I'm making it worse. I can't teach you my dyslexic speech impediment because then you're going to pick it up. I'm so sorry. I'm going to stop.
It's okay.
I'm not going to tell you the other words that I can't say.
Okay.
Like facetious. I can't say that. Okay, anyways.
Yeah.
But yes, in a weird way, codependency is just basically you and this person kind of meld together so much that you don't know where you end and they begin, right? And that's like a tweet kind of idea of it and everything. It's deeper than that. It's attached to a lot of commitment issues and trauma and issues like that. But codependency can also exist in friendships as well. You know what I mean? Not just like boyfriend and girlfriends. Sometimes even in family relationships. You know what I mean? So it's just like not being able to like live or exist without that person. And unfortunately, I would get really just so nervous and scared about relationships failing. Like I'm still very insecure, but I was far more insecure when I was like 23 in this relationship, dating a man who was 11 years older than me too, who was cheating on me for literally the last like year of us dating. You know what I mean?
Right.
And like constantly taking him back and like lying to myself and being like, it's not that bad. Like, yes, I haven't heard from him in like 2 days, but like that doesn't mean he's at someone's house, like shit like that.
Right.
And so I didn't, I had my amazing fun hoe phase for 5 years and I enjoyed it and I had fun. And then towards the end of it, I just like, something happened to me and I just needed to work on myself and everything. And then I like met Anthony and, he had been in a long distance relationship before and it just didn't go well for him. And so he wasn't really a fan of it. But then we both kind of like just were like, you know what? We really like each other. We were fighting it so much. Like I was like, no.
I remember that phase when you were fighting the fact that you loved him. I was just like, you really like this man. Yeah. You're like, no.
And we were both doing it. We were both guilty of it.
Morgan, I remember you had called me out. I was like, y'all are just have your issues with feelings.
I do. Because
both of us were like, we don't have feelings.
And
like,
it's because we have the most feelings. You know what I mean?
Right, 100%. Because I have abandonment issues.
Oh, yeah. I have commitment issues because I I'm extremely loyal. Like I am a very loyal human being in all my relationships, friends, family, and with my partner, with Anthony. And I have commitment issues in the sense that I'm so scared that person's going to hurt me somehow. You know what I mean? Because I've been cheated on before, and I've never cheated on anyone. And that was actually something that like me and him talked about, where he was like, I haven't met a girl who's never cheated on a guy. And that was like a thing that
I've never cheated.
See, and that I've been telling him that like they do exist. It's just that we talk so much in our society. We were so open about side chicks and like all these things, and like,
oh yeah, it's like such an open. It's like such a toxic.
Yeah, we embrace it because I think we have convinced ourselves that like monogamy doesn't exist and all this other stuff. But like, you know, I was like,
and especially dating in LA and having all these apps, it really fucks you up. And everyone at the same time kind of has their own set of commitment issues or abandonment issues. That we're like, we're not trying to commit. We're trying to focus on my career.
Yeah. You know? Which I learned.
But really it's just because they're fucking scared.
Yes, exactly. And which I learned, like that was a thing that we both realized that we kind of tried to use to not be in a relationship, was like, oh, we need to focus on our careers. But like we both are in love in a relationship and focus on our careers. Like it's working out.
You could do that together.
You could do it together.
It's not one or the other.
Also, I don't really know what he does, and he doesn't really know what I do. So it like works out. I know that he's extremely good at his job. He's very valuable employee. He's super dope. He's very smart. He does something with computers.
Yeah.
I don't know, you know.
Yeah,
and
I wouldn't know either.
Right? And then I try to explain to him like what a writer's room is and like what a showrunner is. And then as I'm explaining to him, I'm like, none of these phrases actually make sense. Like writing for TV and film is just like none of it actually makes sense.
Right.
Like people give you money to just do that. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know why, but don't question it. So like, you know, there was all these elements. Going back to like the original part of it is that like when we met, there was all these elements and feelings that we were trying to fight. And it was this weird thing that like as we were trying to figure out if we wanted to be in a long distance relationship, we realized that like we had been together for like 6 months at that point, and we were like
might as well fucking do it.
Yeah. And you know, he is from LA but lives in Seattle. I'm from Seattle and I live in LA.
The fact that
girl
like it's crazy.
It's
so
wild.
It makes sense. I feel like it's kind of the perfect scenario.
Yeah. And it's been one of those things where it's like, you know, my family, I visit them all the time. Like even before me and him started dating.
Yeah, you always go to Seattle.
I always go to Seattle. Yeah. I love my family. I'm very close to my family, and I love my mom. And my mom, you know, sometimes needs help. And
shout
just
out to your mom. She's so
sweet.
Shout out
to K-Dot. She's the best.
I love when we were FaceTime. She's like, you know, you guys just have really great chemistry.
She's like, I really love you, Stefanie. I think you're so kind and sweet.
I know.
Keep following your dreams.
So sweet.
My mom, literally, there are people that are like, can I talk to your mom? Like
your mom reminds me of my roommate's mom. Yeah, they're very similar. Very similar.
Moms.
Such great.
It's just
amazing
great.
Moms.
It just reminds you that like that's why I think I'm scared to be a mom. I'm like this is what I have to live up to.
I'm so excited to be a mom because
you're gonna be a
my
great
standards.
mom. I think you're gonna be an amazing mom.
I think so too. I think I'm just meant to be a mother.
Oh,
I really truly am meant to like be someone's mom. Like I can't wait
sweet.
to be someone's mom.
I can't wait to be the auntie to that child. Like I don't know if I like want to be a mom quite yet.
Does he want kids?
That's the thing. Neither of us know. Like, that's like a really beautiful thing that we've both thought about where we're kind of like kids. And it's so weird because we've both had these fantasies of having children, but we never imagined the partner. We just always imagined like raising kids solo.
I'm the same way.
Yeah.
Not solo. I always imagined someone there, but I still have to manifest who that man is. But
we were, him and I both admitted that we were both thinking of like just by ourselves, like being single parents. Shit. And then we like met each other and we started talking and like we were just like, yeah, like what does that mean? But like my mom was 37 when she had me and I'm 30, so I'm like I got 7 years to figure it out. You know what I mean?
Wow. Okay.
Also, I would love the idea of adopting. Like I've always thought
you would be such a good adopted mother.
Oh, thanks.
You would be so good.
Just because I would like, and I mean like, you know, in the system, it's so sad because like a lot of kids don't get adopted over the age of like 7. And I would be like, I would fucking love to kick it with like a 7-year-old. And, you know, and also like my friend Lauren, I just was hanging out with her family and like her cousin was like playing Pokemon and he's like I think 7 or 8 and like me and him were just like in the backyard playing Pokemon as like the adults were having dinner and they were like, do you guys not want to interact with us? And we're like, no, we're getting Charmanders out there. Like, so like I'm just the taller version of a child,
right.
But I also feel like I am a single mother raising a single child and her name is Rose, you know?
Yeah,
Like I have to
that's
constantly, I know.
That's fucking deep, Rose.
Thank you. Am I Oprah again?
You're
Just
fucking
But like
But everyone has their inner child that
Yes.
they're trying to nurture and heal and, you know,
yes.
raise.
All through the trauma and shit like that.
Yeah. Okay, so long distance relationships.
The long distance relationships. But yeah, so we started out and I feel like within that like 6 months, we just had to be vulnerable because you don't have the luxury of being in proximity with that person. And so we had to like deal with all our shit immediately. Like I am sometimes a very jealous person. And so I would literally be like, who is this girl liking your Instagram photo? Because I thought I had nothing to lose. Like if I was dating this person and like we lived in the same city, I probably would like hide those feelings. But because we had the distance, I had to face my insecurities head on, which was scary. Don't get me wrong. That 6 months was really, really hard because we had to get past through so much stuff.
Because you're just like, are you loyal? Like you're trying to get to see like if they're really down for you or not, if they have their options open.
And this weird feeling that you have your friends in your head being like, long distance, like, is that really going to work? And you're just like, I don't know, is it? And then you realize like, no, they're not in my relationship. You know, this is between, and that was the other thing that we were doing because our society like is so open about, you know, cheating and monogamy's fake and yada, 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 that we would like read memes and like, we would be like, oh my God, are they talking about us? Like, is this what he's doing right now? Or is she doing, and it's just like, you would get in your head and you're like, but that's not my relationship. You know what I mean? Like, and a thing that we should always remember, not even in a long distance relationship, you've never dated this person before. And this person has never dated you before. So you can't compare it to your old relationships, but you can hold on to those feelings those old relationships made you feel.
Right.
And if they get brought up again, you have to be like, why is that? This is a whole new person. This person doesn't even remind, like, and that's the other thing about Anthony. He is not my normal type. Like, he is so not someone I would necessarily go for, but like I love that about him. Like because we're so different. Like we really are, our point of views are very different. There's a lot of similarities we have, like our sense of humors are very like on par, but like we kind of differ on so many things and we have like deep philosophical conversations, you know, politically we don't always line up, you know, everything, like what we like, what we don't like. So that's like kind of cool to have.
Yeah, like you guys could challenge each other.
Yes.
Yeah.
And, you know, before the COVID, we were just seeing each other like once a month. You know, he would come up a month, I would come up, and we'd switch off and on. Because of COVID, though, I was staying in Seattle. Like, I was in Seattle. I flew down in March to celebrate our year anniversary. The quarantine happened. So then I was stuck there for 2 months. So I was there from March, April, and like till the beginning of May.
And did you guys see each other a lot at that time?
We did at the very beginning. And then it got to this like weird moment where we were like, he was like, this is a lot. Like we're spending a lot of time together. And I was like, yeah, we are.
Yeah.
And it was really strange for both of us. So then we just did it for weekends because he's still working.
Yeah.
You know, like.
That's crazy because I'm someone who would want to be with someone all the time.
I thought I was.
Hashtag clingy. That's
clingy. It's like a spokesperson for clingy.
Yeah.
Do you really never want to let go of your lover? Cling on.
Yeah. I mean, that's with my abandonment issues, though. I'm like, don't leave me. Don't go to the grocery store.
You're like, not without me.
Let's go together. No.
I just want to sit in the car. It's okay.
No, I mean, I'm not that bad. I definitely, because I obviously like, I have so much going on in my life and I like being with my friends. So I like a little bit of distance, but like, long distance, that's why it was so tough for long distance. It was like I wanted to be with him all the time. Well,
because relationships, you have to have the physical side of relationships. Like you have to, you know what I mean?
I just want to fuck all the time.
Oh, girl, come on! I literally have the highest sex drive of most people.
You're a Scorpio.
I'm a Scorpio. I love sex. I enjoy sex. We have a very healthy sex life, though. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So like when we're together, it's like
maybe I'm just like so horny and I haven't gotten in a year and a half, so I just want to have sex every single day.
A year and a half? Mm-hmm. The whole time me and him have been together? You've been... Wow.
Last dude I had sex with was Bobby.
Holy shit. Okay, I don't know if I could go a year and a half. I mean, I've gone like...
So now I'm like, we better be fucking every single day. I don't give a fuck.
You're like, I'm making up a
I'm not doing a long distance. I know, yeah.
but no, I also feel like we, like, you know, I've gone like 2 months is the longest that Anthony and I have not seen each other. And like, you know, there's a lot of like, you know, masturbation and everything that's involved, but like it still works. But I honestly thought that was going to be the hardest part, but it wasn't. The hardest part was being vulnerable for me because I mask a lot of my issues in relationships with sex. Like I realized that like if I'm mad at someone, I want to have sex. I'm Samantha. You know what I mean? Like if I'm hungry, I want to have sex. If I'm angry, I want to have sex. If I'm sad, I want to have sex. Like if I'm happy, I want to have sex. And I would use sex as like a tool to ignore or not talk about the things that we need to talk about. And in a long distance relationship, communication is key in all relationships, but it is major key in long distance.
Oh, that's because that's all you have.
That's all you have. So like you know, Anthony, I love you. You know that. But he is the world's worst texter. So that was like a thing I had to like let go. But when he responds, he responds. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like he is the world's worst texter. And that was like something that was difficult at the beginning of the relationship.
Do you guys do like phone sex?
Yeah. I don't know if he wants me to. Well, okay, whatever. Sorry, it's not like his parents listen. Okay. It's totally fine. No, I mean, like, but yes, we do. I'm not embarrassed by it.
Yeah, I thought it was always kind of fun. Like, I would send sexy videos to Morgan. Like, of like me masturbating.
Oh, wow. I've never done that.
I would like masturbate to his music.
Oh, that's hot. Oh, wait. Whoa. I'm a fan of that. Yeah. I've never done that with Anthony.
Yeah. And I'll be like in lingerie.
Oh, that's cute. That's really cute.
See, I'm such a fucking dope ass girlfriend.
You are a dope ass girlfriend. That's not the question. The question is like, you know.
Yeah.
Not with him. I will keep my thoughts to myself. If there's a thought bubble in my head, there would be like a lot of like, anyways. Yeah. Moving on. Long distance relationship. But yeah, no, we have phone sex and things like that. But like for the most part, like but we also met each other when we were both trying to figure out like what sex was going to look like in general, you know, in our own lives, like, you know, just trying to figure that out and understanding that there's other forms of intimacy that isn't just physical because you have to be vulnerable with someone, you have to open up with someone. And so we talk about that. And I feel like in long distance relationship, your speed is like maybe like 2.5 times faster than normal relationships because you have to learn a lot about a person very quickly in a short amount of time.
No, I agree because he moved away like 4 or 5 months in.
Yes. So then you're like, what do you do but talk? And then your conversations get, you know, very deep. And because I'm extremely emotional and he is very level-headed, but because I'm extremely emotional, sometimes our conversations would get so heated because they would get so deep so quickly. And instead of being like, I'm not ready to talk about that, I would like try to like get upset and everything. And one of the many things I love about him is how level-headed he is. Like he is very left-brained. He is very like, things can be black and white.
That's why it works because it's you know, it's like you guys level each other out.
Yeah, we really do. And you know, there's a lot of times where I always like, I grew up because of the household that I grew up in and because of my dad's gross family, I thought arguing was love. Like I thought you argued with the people you love because the makeup afterwards was so beautiful. You know what I mean?
So that's interesting.
So I grew up in a house where yelling was acceptable. You know what I mean? And that was like okay to do. I realized that was a fault in all my relationships because I thought that's how you grew was an argument. And like Anthony isn't an angry person. It takes a lot I still have yet to actually see him angry. Right. Like I have not seen him.
I'm pretty similar to you too, because I grew up in a very like angry, violent household. So I'm a very calm person. We all know this, but when I am in a relationship and I argue,
you get tight. You get loud.
Yeah, I get really loud. I like raise my voice and I get really like. I get in.
Yeah, you bury in. You know what I mean?
Right.
But you know.
And then I start crying.
Oh, I'm a crier.
I'm such a crier. We all know this.
I am such a crier. But I cry when I'm frustrated because my body doesn't know, because I don't know how to deal. And I feel like it's true with a lot of women. We're not taught how to deal with anger. You know what I mean? Like we get it dismissed. Like when a little boy throws a truck across the room, they're kind of like, oh, come on, Sam, why'd you do that? Don't do that again. You know, or just like boys will be boys. But then like when a girl throws a truck across the room, the people are like, Sally, why'd you do that? Don't do that. And then it's like, you shame women for being mad or angry. Boys will be boys. They'll be angry. So like for me, I immediately have to cry because I don't know how to process it.
I'm the same way. Oh my
It's
God,
weird.
We're the same.
We didn't touch, don't worry.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's like this, I would try to do what I usually do in past relationships and argue, and he wouldn't argue back. And then I would get more upset, and he wouldn't argue back. And he would just be like, what are you doing? Like, he literally would just be like, wait, what?
Right.
Like, what's happening? And I would be like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I don't know what I'm doing. Like, and then being able to process that. But he's so loving that way and so level-headed.
Yeah. And I think definitely like in a long distance relationship, when all you have is just that verbal communication.
Yeah.
It's like you really see yourself more on how you argue, because like when you're together, you could just cuddle and everything's fine.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And like, but when you're, no, I totally get that. Like, I feel like shit just gets even more heightened and you really see a person more.
Yes. And you see him at the ugliest too at times, even in
and your trust is being tested. Everything gets tested.
Your insecurities are being tested. All of them. But then I realized that was something I needed to do he's, extremely private and, sometimes doesn't want to talk about his feelings because he's like, why? It's not like, you know what I mean? Like, he's like, it's just not needed. Where I'm like, I needed to process every feeling and I need to talk about it right away.
Right.
But he's like taught me that
Dude,
it's
we're
like
so much the same.
I know. That's why we deserve each other. Yeah.
That's why at one point we're like, we don't have feelings.
I have
we'll just whatever. But
it was also because we were like jaded and like we're like, oh fuck the world. You know what I mean? Let's fuck it as well.
Right.
God, how many F-bombs in a day can I do? But yeah. So you're like trying to scope that, and then when you realize that you're like, no, I just don't know how to process these feelings in a healthy way, and that's why I feel like people say like, oh, I don't have feelings. Like if
which
you were
is such a toxic way to
be and to think.
Right.
Like I'm still the same girl from the thirst trap episode. The only difference though is I've been taught and seen what real love looks like. You know what I mean?
It's crazy because I 100% agree with you, because when I think about like my old episodes and to who I am now, it's like so much more like I've always been this person.
Yeah.
But it's just now it's just been more released because I'm being more comfortable. We're being more comfortable within ourselves. Like I remember when me and Morgan started dating, and we just had like the best, deepest conversations, and I really opened up about so much things, whatever. And I remember when he told me, he was like, you need to show this side of you on your show.
Yeah.
Like he was like, I was like, this is such a dope side of you. Like this needs to be shown on your show. Lo and behold, it gets shown. So
it doesn't, and it does. And I understand like why you haven't. Like I feel like we talked about this the last time we talked, which was like, you don't need to give everything for the audience. You know what I mean? Like you have to keep some self for like self-preservance.
Yeah.
But this is the place to do it, if anything. You know what I mean? Because your audience like loves you and cares about you no matter what, and is going on this journey with you. But sometimes that takes a while. Like it's, you know what I mean?
Right,
like it's why we can give such great advice to other people, but can never take our own advice sometimes.
That's me.
And that's me too. Because, I understand why I was so angry and like low-key like was disrespecting men and didn't like them, is because I just felt so disrespected and angry from them. Yeah. And it was because I was going after the wrong individuals.
And it was like a defense mechanism.
Oh, 10,000%.
Like it was just us trying to be like, we don't give a fuck about you.
Yeah.
Because you don't give a fuck about us, because we've been disrespected. We've been hurt because we're emotional. We're sensitive.
Yeah. And I honestly didn't give a fuck about a lot of those guys. Like, I'm not going to lie. Like, there was a...
Like, well, I really didn't give a fuck.
I'm like thinking, and I was like, yeah, no, I don't really care about you at all. Because that's the other thing is I with the insecurities that you learn about in a relationship in general, you realize like, I know why this person has those insecurities. You know what I mean? Like I understand why, he doesn't have a lot because he's very like Anthony's very secure in who he is, which was just like I think also really intimidating for me because
I get intimidated by that too when guys are very secure with themselves. I'm like,
yes, because I mean it's like like also like he has a great body and I'm all like, oh my body, you know what I mean? In a weird way, you just get like all like weird about it.
Yeah. I'm like but that's how I was with Bobby because the last dude I had sex with, but I was always like,
but then they don't care. They love your body no matter what.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I point to things and he's like, what are you pointing at?
Like my stretch mark.
And he's like, it's fine. You know what I mean?
They don't care. If they love you, they don't care.
They don't, honestly. They really don't care. They just want you to be happy. You know what I mean?
Right.
But like, you understand those insecurities that they have. Like I got like where he was like, nah, like all women cheat. And I was like, no, you just know of all the women that have cheated. You know what I mean?
Right.
You can't comprehend that there are women like me and you that have never cheated because you've been surrounded by so many women. So like anytime he'd be like, this is what I've seen women cheat, like, are you going to cheat on me? And I realized that I would reassure him at the beginning.
Crazy when you realize that men are human.
Oh my God, yes. It's like when you realize that your parents are just people.
Right. You're just like, holy shit, okay. Like you have trust issues too.
Yes. What do you mean?
You going through the same thing. We're all doing this to each other.
Like with women, we try to act like we hate our feelings and everything because men are only given two feelings, happiness and anger.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So like they're not told that they can be sad. They're not told they can be vulnerable. So when they are and that like cracks open, you're kind of like, whoa. It's like a holy grail in a weird way.
Right. Like this is, I love when you just crack a man.
You can also just open them up. You don't have to like force them. You don't have to crack them like an egg. They can just be a door. But I
know you know what I meant.
I know what you mean.
I don't mean like to.
You're just like, ooh, what is in here?
No, I love it. I love when guys open up about like my mental health and my trauma, the way that I was raised. I'm like, yes, let's talk about this.
Yes, because I also realized that a lot of like. I've realized with a lot of my guy friends, they're like, no woman likes sensitive men. That's not true. We do. I'm
honestly debating on dating a Cancer because
I'd love it.
Because I've dated. I just feel like I need a dude who's like hella sensitive. So I'm gonna go for a Cancer.
Yeah. I mean, as someone who's with a Cancer, I love it.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Like,
he is Cancer. I love it. It's great. It's amazing. But like, he's not like the other thing is that it's not that we don't. Like, I feel like they don't understand what we mean by sensitive. We just need consideration. We need
empathy.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing. I want to be with someone who cares about people.
Yeah.
Who cares about the world. Like, who just, the environment, social justice.
Yes. Like, if you can't talk about race with me, then sorry, I can't be with you, But, like, there's, like, notions and ideas that we just want you to, we just don't want you don't have to be angry and happy with me. You can have more emotions. Society has told you that these are the only acceptable ones.
Yeah, when you meet a man who just knows how to open that shit up to you and is not ashamed of that. Ooh.
And it's great. And I feel like that's something that
I'm getting horny just thinking about it.
Ooh, I will roll out. But like, it takes a while to get there. But in long distance relationships, you have to start off that like very quickly. So like the things we would normal relationships probably don't talk about until like maybe like 9 months in, maybe a year, we were talking about at the beginning. Also because I feel like we had both.
Because you really got to like think like, okay, are we really going to do this long distance? Like you got to really like figure out early on. You're not going to just go with the flow. Like if you're going to be long distance. And that was the thing with me and Morgan. I think that sometimes we had this go with the flow mentality, which just... Obviously, it's not it because we got to know if we're really doing this long distance shit. We got to have a plan.
Yes, you have to have a foundation.
You have to have a foundation. We didn't have that shit. You need to have a foundation. Like you need to like how you were saying, fly out to each other every month. Make sure that you see each other. Like
there's a schedule.
Yeah, a schedule, a priority, or even just like the plan to eventually live in the same city together. Like you have to see the future or else it's just, why are you doing this?
See, and that's like something that me and him have been talking about where we're like, we could see us doing this for a while only because we're in this
it's like both cities are home to you though. Not everyone has that that like opportunity. Like sometimes people are like, oh, like for instance, like fucking Alabama, that's not home for me.
Yeah, what do you have there?
What am I right?
Yeah.
What am I going to Alabama for all the time? Besides him, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like for you guys,
it works. And I mean, he has been like, I will never move back to LA, which I understand, honestly. I'm like, okay, LA is not your home. But I also know that LA is not my permanent home. Like,
Right.
part of me has always wanted to live in another country because, like, my dad is Irish and I do have an Irish passport. And I'm like, how come I've never taken advantage of that? And also, like, in the current climate of the world and, like, whatever fucking happens in November, like, maybe I don't want to live in America anymore. Like, you know, like, and he's down for that. But we've also talked about, like, you know, we have our own, like, we're learning our own things about in relationship, like talking about kids, talking about marriage, talking about living together. Where, you know,
and at least you guys want the same thing where you're like, I'm not really sure about kids, right?
Yeah.
Like,
we're also not really sure about like moving in with each other either. You know what I mean? Like he's kind of like, you don't have to move back to Seattle. Like you don't have to right now.
Okay. So you guys are like, you're quick, but you're not really quick. You were quick emotionally.
We're very quick emotionally.
But everything else when it comes to moving in together, because like me and Morgan were like, hey, when things are set over there, let's move in together.
Wow.
Like we were going to move in together. Like we talked about having kids.
Oh, see that? Oh, nah. We did. And then we were just like, that's it. Okay. Well, neither of us have an answer.
But you know, it's the Charlotte in me that's like, I want to have a family. Yes. I want to have kids. You know?
No, I get that.
Like I want to like build, you know? So I thought I
yeah.
But.
Okay. But with Sex and the City, my whole thing is that I still want my Carrie apartment. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that is what it is, you know? And same thing with him. Like, that's the other thing that we, like, also realize is that, like, he has never lived with a partner. And he's like, I don't know what that's going to look like. You know what I mean? Because he's never done it before. I've done it before, and it was really bad. So I'm also like, I need to live in a house that's, like, 2 bedrooms or, like, 3 bedrooms.
I mean, I definitely want to eventually buy my own house.
Yes. I mean, that's my other thing.
Like, it just from all of it. But in a long distance relationship, you have to start with, if I did like a press kit for someone, it would have to be start with emotions first, right? Start with the vulnerable shit first. Yeah, I know. If this was a press kit and I was teaching a TED Talk on long distance relationships, the relationships you're longing for, this is, I just made that up. Am I Oprah? You're Oprah.
You have to start with the emotional stuff and vulnerable stuff very quick, very fast at the very beginning. Insecurities, you know, what is this? What is that? And then
establish that shit
right off the bat. Then
don't do what I did.
No, you have to establish it because there are going to be people in your life that are like, oh, this isn't real because you're not doing what the norm is.
Because we were at first like, oh, maybe we won't do long distance. Like we were just denying ourselves. They were like, we're not going to do it. And then when we did it, we're like still talking every day. We're like, should we do this? I guess we'll do this. It just was like very go with the flow. It wasn't like,
right.
This is what we're doing.
And I understand like why sometimes labels, people get irritated by them, but they are helpful, especially if you're 100%. Like, if you are going over the whole factor of like, do we do this? It's like, no, that's your answer right there. If you are keep coming back from like, do we do this? Yes, you do this. You have to have the establishment because there's a security in that. You know what I mean? So
damn right, because
all the emotional stuff, all the
security
go back to that
episode, but
and then the next thing is communication. Communication is key. Like we don't text each other every morning, but we do make sure to like either like leave a voicemail or call each other at night. We text throughout the day, but like, you know, if I have like 4, like literally, I feel like I had like 5 Zoom calls in like one day and I like missed a call, but then I had a voicemail from him. So like communication is really key. We schedule like, I'll order him food in Seattle. He'll order me food in Seattle.
Wait, that's so sweet.
Yeah, and then we'll have like Skype dinner together.
Oh my God.
Yeah, like Zoom dinner. We've watched movies together. Like we were watching like when Watchmen was like big, we would watch Watchmen together.
That is hilarious. I remember you used to always say this even before you met him. You'd always be like, I'm in a long distance relationship with my feelings. And that's literally what you're in.
I know I am.
You manifested that.
In a weird way I have. And I like found the right person to do it with too. Because that's the other thing is that we did the excuse of I need to focus on my career, and then like this is the best way to for both of us to focus on our careers because like he's really kind enough to be like I'm never gonna ask you to sacrifice what you want for me, and that was like at first I was like that's dope and amazing, and then I was like wait, do I have to promise the same thing? Yes, I do.
Right.
And it was a weird thing to let go. I think
being in a relationship actually makes your career even better. I feel like if you have the right partner who could really build you up.
I know a bunch of artists that would disagree with you.
There's a bunch. I know this is, but like, but
there's a bunch of artists that are like, heartbreak is how I write my album.
Oh, yeah, you know what I mean? Too. Yeah, I mean, because I'm the same way. Heartbreak helps me write my album. No,
but also you don't need to live through agony all the time to make great art.
Exactly. Like there's other ways to do it. It can't just only be heartbreak. But you know, I think if you find the right partner, you know, and really, because it's like, okay, you have romance, but also it's like a business.
It is.
So it's like finding a business partner, you know, to do life with. Like, if you could find, like, I just feel like you could accomplish so much. I don't know, that's my opinion.
No, I completely agree. And it also has to do with this like element of making sure that you are constantly always on the same page. Like, you readjust and then come back. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, you're like, we're good. Okay, fine. And then you just keep it pushing.
Right.
You don't want to overdo that though, because if you find yourself talking about your relationship and not like outside stuff, then all of a sudden you're realizing like, who am I trying to convince? Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you're constantly talking about like, talk about the first time we met, like talk about our first date. Like, why did you fall in love with me? Why did you like me? And that's like your common ground. Then you're not actually in a relationship. You're just constantly trying
I feel attacked.
Okay, to be fair though, I am someone who had to learn that though.
Because I would always be like, do you remember when we popped Molly's at the Virgil? Like, do you remember when we did this?
That's okay though. Like, if you're reminiscing about like things you did together, like that's okay. You do that with your friends. You know what I mean? But I'm talking about if you're trying to think about
try to ways to validate like if they still like you. Oh, okay. No,
or if you're talking about the early days again, like you're trying to recreate the honeymoon phase,
right?
By being like, tell me how much you love me, like
that
yeah,
okay. I don't do that. I was just like, you remember when we did this? That was so fun.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine. I mean, there's a lot of times where he'll just like look at me and tell me a funny story. I'm like, oh my god, I totally forgot that happened to us. Like, we were before quarantine, we like went to Vancouver, and he's like, do you remember when we were stuck at the border for 4 hours? And I was like, no, I like blocked that out of my memory because it was so bad. But it was also really funny because he was like so tired and exhausted and was like joking with me the whole time. But communication is key in those relationships. And also what we're kind of doing right now is you have to redefine milestones. And that's like an important thing that we're like trying to figure out, because the kids thing, we're kind of like, well, we don't know how we feel about that. The marriage thing has come up, and that's one where we're like, long distance marriage, like we don't know what that looks like. That's not like a thing that there's no like thing in society that I can point to and be like, oh, it looks like that. But then there's also this notion where like I thought for the longest time that I wanted to get married, and recently I've been like, oh my god, I don't. But I don't know if it's society telling me that, or that's my commitment issues or my own conclusion. But he's like, yeah, no, it's okay if I don't get married. And I'm like, and then of course I'm like, no, fight for this. And I'm like, but do I actually want to get married? Like, it's a constant thing I'm trying to figure out right now. So for him and I, it's like, if we don't get married, what does the next milestone look like? Do we move in together? Do we buy a house? Do we get a joint bank account? So like, we have to redefine.
Do you think maybe you'll just know once life just happens and you know, like I just feel like sometimes life just kind of shifts. Mm-hmm. And then from there, you're kind of like, okay, what do we do from here? Like, do we want to continue to do this? Should we do this? Are we okay with doing that? You know?
There's a book that my friend recommended me to read called The New I Do, which is all about like breaking down. Usually I don't really like self-help books, but this one's like interesting because it's just about like, why are we so obsessed with marriage? You know what I mean? Like people used to get married for land and to stop wars. We don't do that anymore. You know what I mean? And
I've been thinking about that too, where I'm like,
yeah, it's a weird thing. And I think it's like, I think I also have my own weird thing about marriage because my parents have been together for 36 years, almost 37 years. And I know what a marriage looks like. And it's sometimes very hard to look at because it's a lot of fucking like, ooh, you're working through some hard stuff. A lot of fight.
And my parents are divorced. So I've seen.
And a lot of like to keep it together. What happens? So, you know, it's just like me trying to figure it out. But like, I'm like slowly realizing, I'm like, God, society's told me like that's what you do, and I'm like, but do I actually want to do that?
And it's okay if you don't.
And it's okay, and you're right. Like maybe down the line, I'm like, yeah, like I would love to get married, but then also part of me is like, I don't want that money. I just want a house. Like, you know what I mean? Like if someone's like marriage or house, I'd be like, spend all that wedding money on a house.
Like I'm okay with having like a life partner for the rest of my life, but like to have. I don't know. Like I'm also not a girl that's like, I can't wait for my wedding. Like I'm the girl that's like, I can't wait to be a mother. Yeah. And I say it all the time. We all know that. But I've never been like, I can't wait till my wedding day. Like I've even said like, if I ever have a wedding, like I'm definitely not gonna have a court. Like I'm not gonna have like a bunch of bridesmaids. Yeah. Like I'm just gonna have like probably a very, if it does happen, like just a very like small wedding, but then have a big party with like a buffet of Filipino food.
I mean, lumpia?
Yeah.
Yes. Or you can hear I'd be there a heartbeat with my big purse getting all that food. I'm just like
if it does happen, but at the same time, I'm not like, please.
Yeah.
You know?
There's my sister and my best friend. Those are two people that I've actually like saved, like put money aside in a bank account because I know from them, I'm going to get a text at like 3 a.m. being like, hey, I'm about to get married. You have to fly to like whatever country. You know what I mean? Like, I just know that like Claire and my
destination.
best friend. Yes. I know that Claire and Jackie are going to elope. Like those are just like two people in my life that I know.
Shout out to Claire and Jackie.
I love the midges. Like, but those are two women that I know that no matter what, I'm going, like, that's what's going to happen. They're going to be like, I got married. I'm like, okay. And I kind of like that. But I also feel like in a weird way, like Anthony and I, we've just made like a commitment where we're just like, let's see where this goes. Now, the hard thing for me though, is I always think about the future, like constantly, almost too much, where I'm like, are you going to be here in 5 years? And he's 5 years. And he's like, I don't know. I would like to be, but I put so much stress on the future.
Dude, I mean,
I give myself anxiety.
I feel that.
It's just scary. You know what I mean?
It is scary because it's like, for me, like I'm always just scared like they'll leave.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, are you really going to stay for 5 years? Are you really going to stay for the rest of my life?
Yeah.
You know?
I feel like the thing is I know he's capable of doing it. Like I know he's capable of staying for 5 years. I know that.
Right.
But that little part of me is like, I don't like the other option.
Right.
You know, it's you or nothing, you know?
Yeah.
And we both agree that because of where this relationship is, like, and how we met.
So maybe marriage is a good thing. So you could have that commitment that says he's going to be there.
But then I'm also like, but isn't marriage sometimes like a false commitment? Because if you're married to someone, then you're like, or you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I feel like it sometimes causes more problems with that image. And like, oh, we have to stay together because we're married versus like, no, I'm staying together because I love you. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like if you have an argument with a partner that you've been with for 10 years and they choose you, then it's like, oh, you chose me because you chose me. But if you have an issue with a partner that you've been married to for 10 years and they're just like, I'm only staying with you because we're married. Like, oh, that.
I get that.
That just hit my heart. Oh, I get that. Fuck, that just hurt my heart. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm like processing and thinking about. But I'm also not trying to get married in the next like 2-3 years. Like that's another thing.
Commitment's hard. I get that because it's like, okay, you could get married, but you could still cheat on me. You could still divorce me. You could still leave. Yeah. So it's like how, and it's also like, if we divorce, like it's gonna be messier. Like, you know what I mean? Having to deal with like splitting and I've seen my parents go through divorce and it wasn't totally messy. It just was like, it was just, of course, it's a breakup. It's annoying. It's traumatizing as like a kid, you know?
Absolutely.
So yeah, so there is that fear of just like, how committed can you really be in a marriage? Yeah. I don't know. Yeah.
Well, we were talking about it at that red table, you know what I mean, with Will and Jada.
Right.
Where
like, look at that.
You look at that and you're just kind of like, obviously there's other issues that are happening in that relationship to begin with. But you kind of look at that and you're kind of like, okay, but would you break up though if you weren't married?
Right. That's what, yeah.
Yeah. Like,
but it's like, oh, but then you made that commitment, so you kind of have to stick together.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know.
Like, there's going to be, you know, just things in life that just throw your way, but you don't know if
someone could be attracted to somebody, like get into an entanglement, like, or you just fall out of love.
People change, people grow, and that's like scary. But like the one thing I know that I can guarantee is like I'm never going to cheat. I can't. It's just like I know people are like, what, you can't? No, I can guarantee that because that's just the type of person I am. Same. I know that I'm never going to murder anyone on purpose, maybe in self-defense, but I'm never going to murder anyone on purpose. And I know I'm never going to cheat on Anthony. I just know that about myself because that's who I am. But I don't know what other things life might throw at me that might test our relationship. Right. But that's when relationships become stronger. You know what I mean? Like someone can't be a ride or die until you actually get to that like preface where it's like, what do we do? Right. Kind of like the last episode where we were talking about like our friendship got closer because of this thing that happened. Right. That like brought us together because it was and it tested us, you know, and so then it's like what, and those happen in every relationship with family when there's like a death or like when something is stressed or whatever it is. So those happen whether or not we like it. And I think that's also taps into, and I feel like you're the same way, sometimes the control issue because you don't have any control on life in that sense. but you gotta I'm giving myself this advice when I say it. You just gotta let go of it.
Right.
You know, that like you can't hold on to it or you actually suffocate it.
Right. Like, like I feel like I'm not opposed to getting married. I'm okay with doing that later.
Yeah.
You know, like I feel like if me and my partner have kids before and we get a house and maybe later on we could, you know, get married. And I've also thought about like, what if I want the same last name as my kids?
Yeah.
That's something that I've thought about too. Is like, am I gonna have a different last name? I don't know. It's
and taxes. That's
right,
another thing.
Exactly.
Where it's like, what does it mean? Like when we share money, like, we don't share money.
Right. So it's something I'm still kind of figuring out. And I'm just telling myself like, well, first let's just find a man that you like.
Yeah.
And just go from there. Because I think maybe if you just find the right person, or maybe you hit a certain time in your life, that's when you realize, okay, I'm ready for this.
Yeah.
You know, I just think.
That makes sense and that works. I mean, like one of the things, so my friend Lauren, she has friends that one of them proposed and the girl was like, you know what, let's have kids first, raise them until they're 5 and 6. And if you're still around, then sure, I'll marry you. And I heard that and I was like, that's kind of, I like that. Like I was like,
I kind of like that
too. I was like,
kind of like how I envisioned what my life would be like too.
Yeah, in a weird way. And it's, you know, there's some people that are probably listening to this that are like, what? That's what? You know, sex before marriage.
Marriage is,
it's hard.
It's hard. It's hard.
You know?
And I'm already struggling on how to get through a relationship. You know what I mean? Like I feel like I'm not good at relationships. So the thought of like being with someone forever, I feel like I could be with someone forever. I don't know if someone could be with me forever.
Girl, that's always on my mind. That's like always on my mind, constantly.
Yeah, like I will stick through it all.
Yeah.
I just don't know if someone could deal with me because they always left me. I've never broken someone's heart. I've always had my heart broken. So guys have always dumped me. Guys have always, I mean, there's been situations where like, okay, I had one day and I decide not to text them back like that because I'm someone who knows right away.
Right.
So,
you do.
Yeah. So if I like you and I'm pursuing, like we're doing this, like I'm not going to leave.
Yeah.
Like
no, I get that.
I'm here.
Loyal as fuck.
Right.
Loyal ass hoes.
And like, even if I see the ugly side of you,
yes.
If you've gained weight, if you've lost weight, like anything, like I will like stick by this person.
I'm the same way.
Like, yeah.
I'm just realizing that I don't know if I necessarily
I don't know if it's healthy, but.
And some of your situations, no. But you'll know when it's unhealthy.
Right,
and for both partners, I always think about like, so Sex in the City, about how like when Big was like, it's weird that you still call me your boyfriend, you know, because they're like older and stuff. But I always thought it would be really funny if I just like introduced Anthony to people, like if we're in our 60s and we never get married, I'm gonna be like, this is my ride or die. You know what I mean? Like I'm just like, that's your new title. You're not my boyfriend or
it's
my
like
man
a millennial
friend.
Like grandparent.
Yes, I'm like, this
a millennial
is my
as a
ride or die.
Yeah.
You know, and that, like, but that's like what it is though in a way, is that you are like your friends. The reason why we hold relationships so dear to our heart is because we're choosing this person. And I you know, have made that decision with Anthony, and I tell him that, like, literally, I told him at the very beginning of our relationship when we were finally saying I love you to each other, is that every morning I wake up, I choose you. And if there's ever a moment and he's like, every morning I wake up, I choose you. And if there's ever a moment where we question that or falter that, you have to tell that person. It's so painful and so hard, but you have to.
And I don't fall out of love like that.
I don't either.
I'm not like, there's some bitches out there who do. There's some
get
people out there who just like, I don't feel anything. I'm like, how?
I know, it's fascinating.
It's crazy. I love so hard. We love
I know,
so
we
hard.
love so I love loud. And and it's because
that's literally the perfect description of how you love. I love loud.
I love loud. Like, I do. I love loud and I love a neon. And it's like, sometimes it's really overwhelming and hard to process, but like it's, you know, I realize that I chose the wrong people, and like with Anthony deserves nothing but an amazing partner. Like that's something I learned from him from the jump, is this dude is so dope. He's amazing. I love him. He's great. He's smart. He's kind. He's funny, and he's an amazing human being, and he deserves nothing. I'm sorry. He deserves a great partner. And he hasn't had a great partner. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's had like, you know, decent girls. Like, you know, that sounds like shade to his ex, but like they're obviously exes for a reason.
Right.
But he deserves an amazing partner. And I just
that's you.
Thank you. And I want to continue and be that.
Right.
And vice versa. You know, he realizes that. Like, he'll text me literally. He texted me this morning, was like, you're just a dope ass girlfriend. And I was like, fuck yeah. And that's all it took. You know what I mean? But
meanwhile, mine's like, don't call me anymore.
Well, fuck that guy, honestly.
I'm just kidding. I'm
Sorry. Oh, whatever. Anyways.
I was just making a joke.
But long distance are possible. And I feel like, and, you know, this is really timely because with COVID and the pandemic, there are more people in long distance relationships. And that's like what I was approaching on in the article that I was working on is like, what does that look like and what does that mean? And it is possible. It just takes a lot of work and it takes a lot of patience. You know,
patience, yeah.
And I'm all about the work. I'm not really that patient, but I'm learning.
Working on it. We're all working on something.
Yeah, I'm working on that and a tan. Just kidding. I can't tan. I can't tan to save my life. I literally was like, I went out of my house and I was like hanging up my like laundry to dry and I was like, I could feel my skin burning and I was like, I have to do this in the shade. I am getting a sunburn right now. I'm too pale.
Okay,
I'm so pale.
I know. I love when I tweeted like I'm getting pale, and you were like,
I was like, "Are you pale? Are you pale?
like, are you? What?
I'm sorry. Are you pale? Are you the color of unbaked pie crust? Do your legs look like two freshly cracked glow sticks? Do you look like you could be Casper's?
Freshly cracked glow sticks.
My legs look like two freshly cracked glow sticks. I
Okay,
blind
you're
people. You can use my belly as a white balance.
Oh
you know,
my God.
Is your cousin Casper?
Hold it up.
You know, do you use a whiteout as your foundation?
I love that you're just roasting yourself right now.
Literally, my father is Irish and my mother's Irish Norwegian. Could you get any whiter? Honestly, like the two whitest complexions. And people are like, Rose, you can tan. No, I can't, bitch. There are some people who cannot tan, okay? And that's me. My freckles connect.
What happens
and that's
when
it.
you like are laying out in the sun?
I sunburn.
Oh.
I'm a chicken. Sorry, that was...
Sorry, I need to lower. Like I'm literally going deaf.
I'm so sorry. I love
so
loud. I love loud.
You
I
love
burn. I'm a
loud.
chicken. I'm a chicken. I roast like a chicken.
Aw.
I burn. There's no
There's no tan.
No, there's no tan.
There's
just
no
like,
melanin.
There's just, you see these? Like these, I'm pointing to my freckles and then flip my arm over. Where are they? They're disappeared. They're gone. So my freckles connect and then that's how I get a tan. But I cannot. There are some human beings that just cannot tan. Sure, spray tan, whatever. I think it looks ridiculous on me. I love my pale skin. I love it.
It's beautiful.
And it's soft.
Oh.
You've felt me before.
We shouldn't touch each other. Well, you are soft.
I know. I'm very soft. That's 15
You
years
felt
of
me before.
I know. This 15 years of eczema right there, man. Soft
I
skin.
have eczema too.
Look how bad it's gotten.
Oh my
On
God.
the backs of my hands.
Actually, my hands are better, but I was toe up.
Yeah.
But anyways.
It's stress. I think it's stress and diet, but it's mostly stress because of COVID.
Yeah.
Like literally it comes up and I'm like.
My hands were so bad. It definitely cleared up. You know what works? Apple cider vinegar and hot water.
Okay, I've been doing. I do it. I can do it on the backs of my hands. I can't do it on the backs of my knees though because it's so sweaty back there.
But it
But on
helps
the backs
with
of
the
my
hands.
hands.
Yeah, with the
it
little
really helps.
blisters. You ever get
Yes,
those little blisters?
oh God, they're
Yeah.
bad. But yeah, and
Anyway.
then I get them on my eyes sometimes. But yes, no, I can't tan. I just have pale skin. And
It's okay.
It's fine. Okay. Someone loves this pale skin. But I love my pale skin. I've like learned to love it. Finding a foundation is extremely hard, but like whatever.
Yeah.
It's fine. But no, I just I get freckles and that's
But it's okay. You're
pretty much
beautiful.
it.
It's
Thank
fine.
you.
Well, any last words? Because I'm running out of time.
Oh shit, yeah. Oh my
We could-
God.
No, it's okay. I'm sure people would love to hear you talk until like you just run out of things to talk about.
I always I feel
We should just do like a 3-hour like bonus episode of just you talking. or maybe you could just take over the show.
No,
Like
no, this is your show.
I
do,
know,
like, a
no,
guest
but
experience.
you know, like, well, fuck Ellen, but like,
Oh,
remember Ellen would have
yeah.
like guest
host?
Yeah, like
I feel like there should be an episode where we bring in a third person and then it's just like break
I
it
think
down.
you, me, and Joff ready to do that.
Oh yes, that's what the people have been asking for.
They've been asking for that.
We have also like that's. Ooh.
I told Joffre that I was coming here, and she was like pissed and wanted to come and smoke and like hang out.
Oh my God, I would have loved her to have been here. In
I
the
know.
Peanut Gallery.
I know, but I was like, this is me and Rose's time. You just come on next.
Yeah. Oh wait, I think peanut gallery is not acceptable to say. No, I just looked that
What
up.
is it?
Ah, damn it. It's a very like racist phrase. Damn it. I literally
I'll
just
cut it
read
out.
this. I know, take that out. I would have loved to have Jaffers in the audience. Well, I'm reading like every well-intentioned white person. I'm reading a lot of books right now, and so maybe that's my sign off. Okay, so I'm gonna tell you the 3 books I read that I absolutely loved recently. How to Be Anti-Racist. That's just a great book in general.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Everyone should read it. The Vanishing Half, which I just finished.
I just started that.
Girl.
I'm in the first chapter. I still have to keep going. I've been really depressed. So I haven't been able to read it, but I have it. Yeah.
I am so upset. It's the best book I've read in the last 5 years.
Holy shit.
I love that book.
Okay, I'll get on it.
It's Toni Morrison's structure meets like Zora Neale Hurston's like poetry. Like it's just very like interesting woven story and that I'm just obsessed with.
Okay. I think I'll get on it since I've been crying too much. I need to keep myself busy.
And then then a weird departure I've been reading The Whites by Richard, I forget his last name, but he used to write for The Wire and he wrote for the TV show The Night Of, and it's like this like cop story that is nothing like The Vanishing Half. It's like a huge departure. It's like there's a lot of dead bodies and everything, and I'm like, wow, this is strange.
Yeah,
but those are
I love that you're
books.
giving book recommendations.
I will give book recommendations and movie recommendations for days.
Yeah,
I got you, fam.
Anyways, do you want to plug yourself?
Yeah, you can find me at Rose_Etta Stone or thenewblogontheblock.com. Boop, boop, boo. That's all social media.
And then follow me, Stefanie Maegan, or go to brocotherapy.com. All that shit is there.
And I heard there might be new merch.
New merch. That's what I'm wearing. I'm just working on it due to COVID. It's kind of taking, but new merch is coming.
New merch coming soon. For more details, check out brokegirltherapy.com because therapy is too expensive.
That was so good.
$3.90. I'm going to send that to my agents and be like, get me a job just off of that clip. I just want to
do the laugh right after.
I know, my fucking jammed AK-47 laugh. Some kid on TikTok is going to make fun of it.
I know. Okay, all right.
Bye.
Broke girl therapy.